but it was just a shallow grave. That traditional healer had told me that I was supposed to buy a clay pot and a lot of red garments. So these red garments that I had been instructed to buy, the way that I was supposed to do it is that I had to fold them and place them inside that clay pot that I had been instructed to buy, and I had been told that I had to buy a hunting knife. So I was supposed to place a hunting knife with the tip of its blade facing into the heavens. Then I was supposed to bury all of these items, but as I'll be burying all of these items in the ground at the place where I wanted to start my church, I had to make sure that the blade will always be facing into the heavens until I had finished burying all of those items. So I took that clay pot and I took those red garments and I folded them inside that clay pot. Then in the middle, that was when I placed that hunting knife with the tip of its blade facing upwards as if it was pointing to the heavens. Then I started burying all of those ritualistic items. That was how I became a very powerful prophet. Within a short period of time, my brother, what happened is that there was this other sister of mine. She was staying in South Africa with her husband and her child. Then she fell ill, and when she fell ill, that was when my parents decided that she was supposed to return back home. So when she returned, we then started going around visiting several prophets. There was this other time that we went and we had a consultation with this other man. So whilst we were in his consultation room, what my relatives didn't know is that me and this man, from the moment that we had arrived at his homestead, we then started communicating in the spirit without the knowledge of everyone that was present at that time. That man spoke with me in my spirit, and he told me that he saw that all the charms that I had used, those were the charms that wanted to take the life of my sister, because blood was required for me to become a very powerful prophet. He then asked me if I was willing to go with him to that same place where I had been given all of these powers, because he wanted the same powers that I had in my life. I asked him if he was not afraid of these powers that required blood, but I saw that he had that same attitude to get rich or die trying that I had by the time that I had gone to do this consultation. So we kept on negotiating in the spiritual realm without anyone ever noticing that this is what we were doing. After we had negotiated, that was when we came back into the physical realm. Then he started lying to my parents. He gave them a false prophecy. The false prophecy that he gave them was like, on my mother's family side, there was a relative who is a ritualist, and he was the one who was responsible for everything that was happening to my dear sister. But all of this, my brother, it was nothing but a lie, because me and this man, we had already had a conversation in the spiritual world, and we knew and we understood each other. He knew that I was a ritualist, and he wanted to become a ritualist as I was. So after we had negotiated, I then decided that I was going to take him to that place where I had been given all of these charms, and he lied to my parents. Soon after that, that was when my sister passed away. But the way that my sister passed away, it was quite in a mysterious way, but she had to die because her blood was needed in order for me to become a very powerful prophet that I became. So at that time, my brother, when I started giving people a lot of prophecies, what I'll do is that I would make sure that whenever you would come to my consultation rooms, and when I would consult with you, you had to pay something like $200 going upwards. This was only money for consultation before assisting you or giving you any prayers. The reason why I was so expensive like this, I knew that if I gave you some of the prayers that I used to give people, everything in your life was going to be okay. I was someone who knew how to do those prayers that are called go back to sender prayers, and I was very powerful when it came to those prayers. So that That is why I charged a lot of money. And when my sister's blood was spilled, a lot of people used to come and consult with me. And by a lot of people coming to me, it meant that I was able to make a lot of money. I was able to buy a residential stand in the village, and I moved out of my father's compound, and me and my wife, we then had our own house, which we still have even up until today. I was able to buy a lot of livestock with all of that money. But as the years went by, what started happening to me is that there was this other guilty conscience that just came from nowhere. What used to happen is that whenever someone would come to consult with me, as I'll be busy praying for that person, I kept on thinking about that dear sister of mine who had to die so that I can become this powerful. I kept on asking myself a lot of questions, and this guilty feeling made me to stop being this prophet. And there is another thing that I have to do. If I am ever going to renew these powers, because they do expire, there is a time whereby I am supposed to go back to that same person, even though that older lady has since passed away, but her sons are the ones that are now giving people ritualistic powers. So if I go there, everything is written in the book. So we will just continue from where I left off with their mother. So the process will be very easy if I want to renew these powers. But if I go there to renew the powers, then it means that I have to sacrifice one of my relatives again. And whenever I look at my relatives, I don't think that amongst my relative there is anyone who is fit to be sacrificed. I made that mistake, and I keep on asking myself that if I die today, then what is going to happen to my entire generation? Yes, there are people that come to me, and whenever they come to me, they bring their money. I'll see that their problems are quite small than the problems that I am facing, because the most terrifying thing that can happen to you, Brother Nash, is that this dear sister of mine that I have to sacrifice in the spiritual realm, there comes a time whereby a soul will become so powerful. So when a soul becomes powerful, she comes back to me. Then she will ask me as to why I chose to play God and to cut her life short, and I do not even have an answer to her question. So as for my wife, I had been told that no one was supposed to know about all of these rituals that I was about to perform, but knowing that my wife was quite a dreamer, she was the only one that I ended up telling about all of these rituals that I performed. But my life is full of regrets because I loved my sister. Dear listeners, there was a narration of a message that I received. Then we had to try as much as we could to give you this translation. Strange things do happen in this world.